Hello and welcome back to Rolling Solo, and I guess this is part 3 of the Arkham Horror, the card game playthrough, and I'm really excited to see kind of where we're going to land in this, because I think so far Roland's actually had it kind of easy. We've only ran into some fog and some rats and some, rotten remains, things that, wouldn't shock anyone really. So, let's go and kind of continue adventuring and hope to find something more pleasant. Probably not going to happen, but we can give it a shot. So at the end of the last video, we had finished the Mythos phase, and we were rolling into the investigation phase where we do our 3 actions. So following this round sequence card, which we do oh so well, is we're going to go ahead and take 3 actions. Now, Roland is sitting inside of the attic right now, and we know that there's obscuring fog, which is messing with his ability to find clues now. What we thought was going to be easy is a little tougher. So now it's going to be 3 in terms of that shroud value on the side there with the black circle instead of the 1. So what can he do? Now this is also something that I never really explained really well in the last couple of videos, but that's because everything really links decently. But you have these little location notes kind of in the bottom that'll tell you that the hallway you can access the blue, the brown, and the green rooms from the hallway. So that would be green, brown, blue. But you cannot go from something like the attic straight to the cellar, because the attic only has the red node inside of it, which links you back to the hallway. So the hallway is a central focus, which makes sense because in any room the hallway leads to in any house every room leads back to a hallway. So for now that makes sense. Just wanted to explain that in case you didn't know what you were and weren't allowed to do in terms of movement around the house. So anyway, got 3 actions here to do. So let's take a look here. We got the research librarian, the knife. We don't have any enemies, but we are lacking. And what we really need to find right now is something to help boost us when we're searching. And that's the tough part. And let's see what we got for actions here. So how about, you know what, now this is tough. This is really, really tough. These cards are making it very tough to determine what is the best move. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a card with my turn and a resource. So I'm going to take a resource token. So I'm doing this action right here. Draw a card or gain 1 resource. Oh, I guess it's an or, so it's an either or. You don't get both. So I'm going to just choose to draw a card. And I got the exact same bloody card that I already had. So that's okay when we're trying to avoid somebody. That'll come in really handy because we can run away quick. But as of right now, that's not what I'm looking for. So I kind of wasted a turn on that one. Do I risk it? Like, that's the problem with this stuff when you're searching. And there's a risk here that I could actually end up screwing myself over because my actual intellect is 3 and the shroud value is 3. So pulling stuff out of this bag, the majority of this stuff is not good. So the chances of finding exactly what I want is very unlikely. But let's give it a shot anyway. 0! Look at that! Are you kidding me? We got lucky. Alright, so actually here's the Doom tokens from the last time, but I'm throwing those away because those were on the last card, not on this one. So yeah, we actually successfully got this clue. Wow, that was kind of a shock actually. Now, do we have anything here? It says let's see. No, there's nothing else that allows me to get the other clue for free or anything like that. But I'm starting to look at the work a hunch card and wondering whether it's time to use that. So I'm on my 3rd action now, and that's the question. Do I investigate again and see if I get lucky in this bag of fun, or do I just pay the resources to get the clue so I can move on quickly? But you know what? I might just You know what? I'm going to do the working the hunch. And how this works is when you play a fast card, it doesn't count as an action. So I have to pay the event cost, which is 2. This allows me to quickly, using some resources there that I just paid for, play only during your turn, and you discover 1 clue at your location. So I can take this clue at the location, put that into my pile. Now the act we're trying to defeat right now has a cost of 3 is what we need in order to clear it. So, but by clearing all the clues in the attic, this card actually, the Obscuring Fog, gets discarded now. That's what it said at the bottom. It said forced after attached location is successfully investigated, you discard the fog, so it's gone. But now this room has been completely covered. Now the great thing about that is down the bottom right there, you see Victory 1. What that means is at the very end of the campaign, there's going to be a spot here where you're tracking your XP. And so you're going to have a bunch of these things here that you're going to be filling in. And you can see something called unspent experience. Well, you get experience points for each of those victory points, from what I understand, and I'll have to double check to make sure I'm correct on that. But as of right now, we've cleared this card. So because we got all the clues, we get that victory point when we finish this quest. Or finish this scenario. So that's really cool. So we played this card, we discovered it, so now we can go ahead and torch it, because it's not one of those cards you get to keep the whole time. It's like a one-time use kind of thing. We got 2 clues, and just because it's a fast card denoted by the fast keyword, it does not count as an action. And it says that down here in the play. It says fast cards do not cost an action to play. So now we still have an action. So our last action will be to run back to the hallway. I'd love to run straight to the cellar, but we can't do that because we have to follow the nodes telling us to head back the hallway, then to the cellar. And that ends the turns for the investigator, or for Roland, right now. So then we're going to go ahead and do the enemy phase. Enemy phase doesn't apply because we have no enemies on the board. We are going to ready all exhausted cards. We don't have to do that. We're going to draw a card and get a resource. So let's draw our card. We got Vicious Blow. This looks pretty crazy. If the skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. That's pretty good. So we'll put that over there, and we're going to grab ourselves a resource. That's always good. Adding to our pool. And we're going to take a look here and say, do we have 8 cards or more? We've got 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're safe. And now we can move on to the Mythos phase. Placing a Doom on the agenda. So we're going to go ahead and drop a Doom token, the very first one for that particular agenda card. And then we are going to pick up a card from the encounter deck to see what we find in the hallway. Grasping Hands. So we have a bunch of hands coming through the door at us. And it says, Revelation, test your agility, which you need to get a 3 on. For each point you fail, you take a damage. So this is bad because my agility off the top is only 2. That's not very good. And this is where I kind of want to look through my cards to find something that could potentially help me. Now what I could do is I could play Mind Over Matter. It's a fast turn, and it says until the end of the round you may use your intellect instead of your agility. So I could actually get 3 on that check instead of the 2 that I would normally get. So I'm going to go ahead and use that card. It's going to cost me 1 resource to do so. And we're going to go ahead and go into this check with 3. And let's hope that I can actually pull something that's not going to hurt me, because that usually is the case with this game. Ooh, I got this guy again. What does he do? -1. If you fail, take 1 horror. So as of right now, I was playing with a 3. I needed to get a 3, but I actually got -1 because of this token. So it says for each point you fail by, you take a damage. So I'm going to go ahead and take a damage for that. But then on top of the damage I'm taking, because I pulled this token, and it references this card that says if you fail, take 1 horror, I also take a horror. So that's no good. So now I've got 2 horror and 1 damage off that 1 grasping hand. So not only was I shocked and terrified as the hands came through the door at me, but they also must have taken a little bit of skin off me as they ripped me, which doesn't look too pleasant. And this Mind Over Matter is now discarded because I just used it for the check as a fast card. And that's it. And now we're right back to the investigative Phase. And so we're back to Roland banks. And what I'm kind of thinking about doing at this moment, because I'm getting a little beat up, is maybe playing the medical text asset cards. I'm going to put that here. That's going to fill up his second hand because I've got a body and a hand here. And it's going to cost me 2 resources, so it's getting me a little bit dangerously low in the resource kind of thing. And it says, so that's my first action, is to play medical text into my hand. And I can use another action to choose an investigator at your location, like myself. I can do an intellect test, and if I succeed, I heal a damage from that investigator, and if you fail, you deal a damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an intellect check, and my intellect is 3. I don't really have any cards besides Barricade that would help me in the intellect, and I don't want to get rid of Barricade because I feel like at some point in time that's going to come in really helpful. So, and I pulled a -2, so that's no good. So I just tried to do that. I needed a 2 in order to pass. I have a 3, and this -2 is a 1, so I failed. And it says if you fail, you deal damage. So I actually hurt myself trying to heal myself. So that's wonderful. So that didn't really work out all that great. So for my third action, I'm going to head to the cellar, because at this point I'm just kind of coming to terms with the fact that I've screwed up. And heading to the cellar. So we remember that the stairs leading down to the cellar are slick and they glisten with a thin layer of ice. And now we've crept in past the door in the cellar, and we found what looks to be a gigantic pile of bones, a giant cavern, and it looks frosty in there. And it says that the shroud value is 4, and it says it's force that after you enter the cellar you take a damage. So again, we take another damage. This is how this game kind of beats you up. We're going to trade these 3 in for 3. And, you know, already we have 9 health, but we've taken 3 hits, and we have 5 sanity, we've taken 2 hits. So that's not good. And the shroud value on this cellar is crazy high at 4. So in terms of searching for stuff, it's going to make it really difficult to do that. So let's move on and see what happens. So that was the end of the 3 turns. Now we're going to go through enemy. There are no enemies. Upkeep, we're only going to care about drawing a card and gaining a resource because the rest don't apply for us. And we got another knife. So that's going to be handy, but you got to remember we have 2 cards in hand that are in our hand. And if we want to replace one, we have to discard one of these 2 hands. Or hit cards in the hand in order to bring this other knife into play. So that's that. And now we're going to go to the Mythos Phase. Mythos Phase is going to put a Doom on the agenda. So now we're at 2 out of 7 until that flips. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the encounter card. And we found ourselves another swarm of rats, and we're very familiar with the rats. And rats belonging in a cellar kind of sounds right, so bunch of rats kind of coming at us, and we're gonna have to deal with that on our turn. So we start our next turn and we've got 3 actions. Well, you know what, we should probably do the fight action right away, which gives us a +1 on our 4 for combat. So now we're at 5. We're gonna use our first action to fight these rats, and we only need to get a 1 or higher. So these guys are really easy to kill. The one on the left there, the fight value is how much they're gonna what we need in order to hit them. So it's we should be able to get this. Oh no. Look what I pulled. The tentacles. It's an automatic fail. So when that happens, you have to look at what damage is dealt by the enemy. Actually, this is kind of where it gets a little bit interesting. So, sorry. I don't take damage from the enemy at this point in time, unless of course they have the keyword retaliate. Then if you fail your attack against an enemy, it will hit you back. Now this one only has the keyword hunter, so he just chases me down. So I don't take this hard of damage, unless of course by the end of my 3 actions, I haven't killed these swarm of rats yet. So I've gone ahead the first time and tried to fight them and failed. And now I'm going to go ahead again and do the exact same attack with the knife and attempt to take out the swarm of rats again. And I got a -4. Now we know we had a 4 here and we had a +1 for the knife. You take away 4 and that leaves us with 1, and that is enough to kill the rats. So as painful as they are, we barely managed to take those rats out. And now the cellar is clear, except for the fact that we really need some help in terms of finding a clue. Now, earlier, just to let you guys know, when I took the damage insanity, I could have put it on the research librarian, and the reason I didn't is because I think at some point later on when I take damage, I'm going to probably throw it on him instead. But for now, I'm going to leave it on the investigator. Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt me. So with my last effort here in the cave, I'm going to search, and I don't really have too high hopes on this because from what I can tell right now, I don't really have any cards that can help me, so I'm kind of in trouble. But I need one clue at least to get past his act deck. So I might just be going into the bag here and hoping for the best. So let's hope that we pull something good. Oh my god. Worst. Okay, so that's an automatic fail on the investigation, and that is the end of his 3 turns. So now we're going to move to the enemy phase. There are no enemies. Upkeep phase, we're going to get ourselves a resource and a card and pray that we get a card that can help us search because we badly need one. Oh no! We got treachery, paranoia. So you discard all of your resources when this happens. So now we've lost all the resources, and if I see this correctly, it says that you draw a card, or sorry, for the right here it says draw 1 card and gains 1 resource. So you draw this card first, what would happen, which means I would have lost 2 resources, and then that 1 resource I just gained, I'd still have that because the card happened first based on following this round sequence. So I still have 1 resource, but I lost the majority of what I had, so that's no good. And yeah, so that was not fun. And so that paranoia, sorry, goes into my discard card here because it just happens as soon as it comes out, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm a little bit paranoid in the cellar right now. And then I've got 3 actions again starting right now. So what I could do is I could continue to search through my deck for something to help me with finding this last clue. So I'm going to go ahead and take a card for my, so first I get my 3 actions for Roland. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a card and hope that we get something decent. Guard dog. When an enemy attacks, deal damage to the guard dog, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. Not bad. So 3 and 1. And he's 3 to put out. So that's not bad. And I've got over there 6 cards. And I'm going to probably pull another one. And I got personal training. Spend 1 resource and you can boost your willpower or your combat. Okay, so those are okay, I guess. Now what we're going to do is take a look at any kind of books. We don't have any intellect cards except for the barrier. That's the only one that will boost our intellect, and that's really too bad because we really need to find a clue here. And I'm going to use my last action to just hope that I pull an elder sign or something that's going to help me out, because as of right now I haven't done much. Oh my gosh, I seriously cannot win. This game is trying to kill me. So there goes another failure on the tokens. Holy, that's bad. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and move on to the enemy phase. There are no enemies. The upkeep phase gives me a card first. And I found evidence. Hey, fast. Play after you defeat an enemy and you discover 1 clue. This is perfect. This is exactly the type of card I want. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I'm at my limit, but I'm okay. I'm still within the limit. And now we go ahead and we're going to take a resource as well. Get a resource for that. And we're going to go ahead and check our hand size, which we did. It's perfect. Doom token's going to go on the Doom track, so now we're up to 3. And then we're going to go and grab something from the encounter deck to see what happens. And we got ourselves a ghoul minion. So a ghoul minion has showed up, and he's a 2/2. And he has showed up in the cellar with us. We're going to have to deal with that. So it looks like we found our saving grace with the evidence card. It says we need to defeat a creature in order to get a clue token. We've just got our creature that showed up in the attic in the cellar, and this is the guy we need to kill to get that clue token so we can get the heck out of this house before it gets overrun. So if you guys will join me in the next episode, we're going to see whether or not Roland Banks can stop pulling tentacle tokens out of the bag and killing himself slowly. So until next time, keep rolling solo. I hope you guys are enjoying the series, and I'll see you in the near future.